Good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local, national, Native news and events, and as you know, Haley, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
You are right, Daga. This portion of the show is supported by the Minnesota Historical Society Press.
Right on. Hey, where are we? I always like asking you questions like, what time of month is this, and where are we? Where are we right now?
Well, today we are here live at All My Relations Arts Gallery, 1414 East Franklin Avenue here in Minneapolis along the American Indian Cultural Corridor.
So you set all the equipment up here, and now you're like hosting the show. You're doing everything now. Next, you'll be running the store here because there'll be books for sale. And why are we here?
Well, we're here for the book reading and the book release of Cathy Coats' new published book, To Banish Forever, A Secret Society, the Ho-Chunk and Ethnic Cleansing in Minnesota.
Yeah, and we're excited. We have her here, too, and I think it was fun to get this going and live here and tell everyone to come on out and check out the reading. And we have Cathy again. We made Cathy come on again.
We did.
Yeah.
She is here live in the flesh today.
How's it going, Cathy?
Good. How are you?
Here, get that mic close to you. Or you can even hold it if you want like this, like a rock star, if you're singing karaoke. Let's see how that works.
All right. Sounds good. Is that better?
Oh, that's much better.
Sounds great.
Jeez. All right. Hey, so we didn't need those mic stands that I got, Haley.
I guess not. Sometimes you think you need it, and then maybe less is better. But.
Oh, no. Well, more is better when it comes to live shoots. But, Cathy, we're really excited. We already have a citizen of Ho-Chunk here with us today, and an elder, and she's excited to be here. And well, she's waving and shaking her hand. You guys see Rosetta in the back. I won't use your last name so people won't sue you, Rosetta Hunt. Whoop. But good to see you. And we got chairs up here, and we're ready to rock and roll. Amy's going to be coming off the airplane soon. Are you excited? You don't look nervous. You sound pretty good.
Oh, I was probably nervous until I was on TV last weekend, and I've been on this show a couple times now, and looks like Amy's coming in right now.
Oh, wow, that's crazy. Yeah. Well, that's a good play-by-play on that, and we'll get her probably after the next commercial, but hey, we're really excited to have you on, and we are excited for people to come here, and I think there's going to be a lot more people than chairs, so get here early. There'll be food at 5:30, and we're going to be going Haley, we're going to be going not live at 5:30. We're going to have our president of Ho-Chunk Nation, who used to do a lot of spots for us of history of Ho-Chunk on Native Roots Radio, and you picked one out.
I did, yeah. So Jon Greendeer is going to be joining us for segment 3 today.
He just doesn't know it.
He doesn't know it. This is an encore segment from Jon, and we appreciate it. Jon talks a lot about Ho-Chunk history in this segment, and then also speaks quite a bit of Ho-Chunk, which I always love to hear.
Definitely. So, yeah, and with my other job, as you guys know, I don't really talk about my other job, but it's always good to hear our president open up our legislative meeting with a good prayer and with the Ho-Chunk language. And so are you excited?
Yeah, I'm real excited. The book came out yesterday. I'm ready to make some sales and
there
do
you
a
go.
reading and get it out in more people's hands.
Exactly, and I'm excited. Rosetta, give me a thumbs up. Are you excited? Yep. You don't have. Well, you're gonna have to grab that mic if you want to say anything, Rosetta. Oh, she doesn't want to say anything.
We should introduce our Ho-Chunk names since it's a Ho-Chunk show today.
Oh yeah, my name is Wakanja Hade, which means distant thunder.
Yes, and I'm Chashapeyangewe Nink, which means little eagle princess.
Oh, little eagle princess. Do you get an adult name, or are you always going to be little eagle? How does that go, Rosetta?
Yeah, I don't know, Rosetta.
Does she keep that forever?
I keep that forever. Oh, I kind of like my name.
I do too.
Yeah.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
We're Eagle Clan, so I like the Cha Shep in there too.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Well, I don't know how I got Thunder in my name, because I'm not in the Thunder Clan, but I like my name.
Well, my brother Ryan.
Oh, that's right.
His name is similar to yours. I know it's his is King of Thunder, Wakanja Hook Wakanja.
Yeah.
So.
And Dandy, who's in the book, is do you know how to pronounce his name? I don't have it open right now, but it is a Thunder. I'll look real quick, but I was going, that was cool.
Yeah. Well, I know great grandma's name too. I just found this out, is Blue Sky Woman, and I'm thinking
Roaring Thunder.
Roaring Thunder.
Roaring Thunder. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, Blue Sky Woman. I'm trying to now.
And Walking Jari is Dandy's, and Dandy is a character in the Ho Chunk history because of all those times that he was being removed from Wisconsin, and then 2 weeks later he was back, and you told that great story about him pretending to be sick.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, "Oh, he's sick," and then he bolted for the door out of the fort and ran past
Such
them.
a rebel.
And the reason why he was named Dandy is because the way he dressed really well.
Oh,
Wore fanciful dress, they said.
lots of colors and
Yes,
stuff.
lots of colors. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Well, cool. Well, did we just
exci-
run out of things to say?
No, I'm just excited to hear from the book. I know we got a minute left until we got to take a break here, but I'm excited to hear more about the book. And crazy, I had some wild dreams last night after talking to you, Cathy, on the show yesterday.
Oh.
And I think we need to get down to Mankato and do some bare feet walking. And
Well, not only that, we need to get our protest signs out.
well,
and Cathy's not saying anything, but she's shaking her head yes. So I'll just say
Cathy will be
we
there
need
with
to get
us.
to Mankato, definitely.
Exactly. Well, hey, we're here at All My Relations Art Gallery here on Franklin Avenue. And come on down. We're going to have the reading real soon. There's going to be food delivered here at 6 o'clock or at 5:30.
Yeah, from Powwow Grounds.
Yeah, and I'm excited. I've been eating all day, so that'll fit right into my criteria. But I'm glad to be here. Glad Cathy's here. Glad Rosetta's here. And always glad that Haley's here. As you guys witnessed, Haley put everything together, so we got to give her a big shout out.
Pina Gigi, thank you.
Yes. All right, we'll be right back. This is Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
Stay with us. The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis Air. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis Air dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis Air on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States.
And 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected.
Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf.
Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy.
As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired.
Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
This is Leonard Peltier. I am in Coleman 1 U.S. Penitentiary, and I'm listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by All My Relations Arts Gallery on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis.
Hey, this ain't no party. This ain't no disco. This ain't no powwow. This is a book reading tonight, and one of the stars of the show has just joined us here. And Amy, do you mind grabbing that mic like it's karaoke, and we're going to be singing with you? Because there you go. Hey,
there
welcome. So good to see you.
Thank you. I just arrived from Santa Cruz, California.
Right on.
Welcome.
Right on. And
Thank you.
You know, Cathy, the author here, was on TPT. You saw that, and she I
Wonderful
got some
interview,
time.
Kathy.
Yeah, I got some time to spend with her, and she's just had nothing but great things to say about you. And I want to say a big peeny gigi because a lot of this correct stuff that Kathy's doing is because of you, and you're vetting out the book, and so that's really important. And it's important for me so we can really promote the book in a good way.
Hinagiki. It's a wonderful book. I was reading it closely again over the last couple of days, and I just can't wait to talk about it. It's been a long time coming. I mean, in terms of us exploring and thinking through Ho-Chunk history in Minnesota. And I've been thinking, as I was driving over here, why has it taken us so long to have a book-length study like this?
Yeah.
So we're incredibly indebted to Cathy for her brilliant scholarship.
Yeah.
And there have been so many conversations, right, around the cities in the state of Minnesota. Oh, Ho-Chunk have a connection to Minnesota too.
Yeah.
But it was always left in a kind of general way.
Mm-hmm.
And Cathy here is helping us move forward with some really important specifics on our history in Minnesota.
And I really like what you had to say. And I think at one of our area meetings, one of the things that really hit me that you said when you joined us from California was that Cathy's a researcher. This is real research. This is not an opinion book. This is done on research. And that's what excites me, too, because I have my opinion as a Ho-Chunk, but I haven't done the research.
Mm-hmm. It's really well researched, and I'm a historian.
Mm-hmm.
And what I was really struck by as I was reading it again closely, because I read it in manuscript format before it was published, but to have the hard copy was really exciting. And I was just struck by its readability. I mean, I was seeing it as, in classrooms, right, as part of book of the month club type of things. I mean, it's a highly readable book. So it's just got a wonderful balance, as I said, of rigorous historical research, but yet highly, highly engaging and readable.
Yeah, I think, we're going to have the I want to say ceremony, but we're going to have the book reading and you speaking, and maybe Bill Quackenbush is going to be down here, and we can have him. Oh, I just saw Bill. Oh, that's excellent. So we want to get Bill on. And I'll be kind of the master of ceremonies of that, because I just really, for me, I want to thank you, thank Bill, thank Cathy for this and for the opportunity to, work on this in Minnesota too, because I've always said people under 40 years old really don't realize and recognize Ho-Chunks here in Minnesota. It just erasure is what we were talking about.
Yes. I think.
Oh, did you want to say something, Kath? Oh, okay. We just made your mic hot. Go ahead.
Thanks to Amy for her kind words, and thank you to all three of you and Bill and Amy, for helping me when it was in manuscript form, and for being here today. It means the world to me. So.
Oh, well, it means a lot to us.
Yes, it definitely means a lot to us. And one of the things that I want to talk about too is some of the early conversations and efforts to recognize Ho-Chunk history in Minnesota. The Minnesota Historical Society back in 1993 worked on a Minnesota Communities exhibit, and I've been going through my files over the last week and refreshing my memory, and they were looking at 6 communities from across Minnesota. It was part of a major exhibition at the Minnesota Historical Society in 1993. And they selected the Ho-Chunks, not the Ojibwe or Dakota, but they selected the Ho-Chunks. And Celeste Persini was the lead curator, and she said that, they recognize that Ho-Chunks in Minnesota have been overlooked. And they really wanted to talk about and present Ho-Chunk Nation history in the mid, especially, of course, focusing on those years when we have the reservations in Minnesota in the mid 20th century, but also, of course, on Ho-Chunk resilience and survivance in the contemporary community today. So there were some really wonderful community leaders that worked on that who have since walked on. Donald Blackhawk Sr., Betty Green Crow.
Wow.
So I had an opportunity to work with them, and that was really special. And the McKees, and they were wonderful too,
That's us.
That's our relatives. That's our family.
Right on.
So it was just beautiful working with all of them and really beginning this process of reclaiming Ho-Chunk history in Minnesota.
That's exciting. And Amy's a great guest.
Amy, yeah, we gotta get you.
We might have to go another segment with Amy here. But one of the things too, and I don't know if it's yellow Volkswagen syndrome, but since Cathy's been working on this, and then I've been kind of pushing some stuff legislative wise in the background, the University of Minnesota has added Ho-Chunk to their land acknowledgement. The land acknowledgement is another thing, but that's something big. But also the Minnesota Historical Society. So I don't know if it's been the work or if I'm just noticing it now or being aware of it, or if it's a combination.
That's why Cathy's book is so important, right? I mean, this is really challenging that history of Minnesota and the indigenous nations of Minnesota, kind of the master narrative of Minnesota history. So
that's really right. That is the entire purpose of this book, is to start justice work for Ho-Chunk people and recognition work for them in Minnesota. Or for you.
Yeah. Well, in one of the key words that I heard brought up, I think by you, and then also in the book by Cathy, is erasure. And that's one of the things that I'll be driving home when I speak to people about a recognition of Ho-Chunk in Minnesota, is we don't want to be erased. And that's a colonized way. So, you know, also too, one of the things that really in the book for me really hit home, and we mentioned a little bit with Cathy about this earlier, is that, Mankato has some some things that they should be giving back, possibly. I could just say that in code.
Land back.
Cathy wants to say something.
They own millions and millions of public land of acres. So they definitely stole land from the Ho-Chunk people in 1863. So land back is relevant to Ho-Chunk people in Minnesota.
Yeah, we'll get a Chapotake down there and just have Haley do the radio show down there.
Yeah, we'll move our studio down there.
Get our big antenna on there.
Yeah.
And if I could add something quickly about when I was reviewing Cathy's book, one of the suggestions that I made, because we know that, you know, Ho-Chunk, we're indigenous to present day Wisconsin. We originated near Green Bay, but the land, Blue Earth, I really wanted to see, and Cathy did this, but to really emphasize that this was originally Dakota land, right? And they had been forced to the treaty table and forced to cede this land.
Yeah.
And so when I'm thinking through that deep history and the commemoration of the U.S. Dakota War of 1862, I have found that the Dakota community, certainly when I participated in the Dakota Commemorative March in 2004 and 2006, they were incredibly interested in Ho-Chunk Nation history. They would introduce me to other people in the room and say, "This is, you know, Amy Lonetree, she's Ho-Chunk, and her people were removed too." And so I felt this incredible groundswell of support and interest, that they were hungry to hear our story as well.
And removed so close to them, you know, as neighbors and almost on the same land. And our language is, you know, similar in that way too, to the Dakotas.
Yeah, it's Siouan, but I think it's more Ho-Chunk, and they got the language from us. Is that right? No, I'm just kidding.
That's right. Well, one of the translations of our name is people of the parent speech. And that's the recognition that we were a nod to, that we were the original Siouan speakers.
Yeah.
Now some people have made that claim. Yes.
Well, I wonder, should we call it a show, because we were going to go halfway the show, or if you have a few, I know there's a lot of people coming in here that you want to see too, so maybe we can end the show at the normal time that we were going to only do half a show here and tell everyone to come out here, but it's really exciting to have you on, Amy, and it's going to be an exciting night, and the place is getting full.
I could relay one more story really quickly, Robert, about Ho-Chunk presence in Minnesota. We can talk about an erasure, but there have been moments, as I was thinking this through over the last several weeks, where people I remembered acknowledged our deep connection. And case in point is at the University of Minnesota and the development of the American Indian Studies Department. I heard from a Dakota elder that they actually approached the Ho-Chunk Nation and asked them to if it would be all right, or if they would like to offer Ho-Chunk language courses to undergraduates at the University of Minnesota. And as we know, Dakota and Ojibwe are taught at the University of Minnesota and have historically been taught there. But I think that that's a really interesting story. We made a decision, elders made a decision not to do that for a host of reasons. But I think it's really important because that speaks to the acknowledgement of the Ho-Chunk having a deep and longstanding connection to Minnesota, and other nations recognizing that at various moments in time.
Amy, it's so good to have you. I'm so happy that you made it here. It's going to be a great night. The place is packed. A lot of relatives and a lot of people are here, and it's going to be exciting, Cathy, huh? Oh, wait, unmute me, Cathy. Go ahead.
It's great to have Amy. She's a great speaker, and I can't wait to hear more.
Well, we're here to honor and recognize and celebrate that book, and I just can't wait for people to hear what you've that history that you've uncovered and you've written about so powerfully.
Yeah. Well, hey, we're gonna hear Jon Greendeer, best of, and come on down. There's still plenty of time. Show starts at 6. We're going to be eating here soon, but there's plenty of time. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and we're at All My Relations here in Minneapolis on 1414. Oh my goodness, Audrey Thayer. I just got to say, and we'll be back, and we'll talk tomorrow. I just ADD'd out on Audrey Thayer, right?
Yes, we'll be up with Jon Greendeer here, and then we have a new animal segment from Wendy Pilot. Yes. And then tomorrow we'll be on with Little Moments Count and Bob Lake from Red Lake.
We love saying Bob Lake from Red Lake. We'll see you tomorrow, and listen up. John's got some great info.
We are Calusa Nation.
As we pack away the ornaments and bid farewell to the holiday season, it's time to unwrap the gift that keeps on giving, getting protected by a COVID-19 vaccination. This is your chance to make a difference, especially as our Native communities face higher COVID numbers. Those higher numbers underscore the need for collective action. So answer the call and get vaccinated. The latest vaccines are not just authorized, but they're proven effective against the current variants. This is extra protection even if you've already had previous vaccines, since previous vaccines will eventually wear off. Plus, the new shots are FDA approved for ages 6 months and up. A COVID vaccine is not just a shot. It's a pledge to safeguard the wisdom and stories handed down by our elders. So join the movement, get vaccinated, and make 2024 the healthiest year ever, securing a brighter future for our Native community. For more information, including details about clinics offering free vaccines, visit vaccines.gov.
When we heal from our traumas,
when we face our fears,
let go of our addictions,
when we relearn our values,
when we live our teachings,
respecting our elders,
cherishing and honoring our children,
when we honor and take care of our spirit,
there will be no room left for sexual violence.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
As we pack away the ornaments and bid farewell to the holiday season, it's time to unwrap the gift that keeps on giving, getting protected by a COVID-19 vaccination. This is your chance to make a difference, especially as our Native communities face higher COVID numbers. Those higher numbers underscore the need for collective action. So answer the call and get vaccinated. The latest vaccines are not just authorized, but they're proven effective against the current variants. This is extra protection even if you've already had previous vaccines, since previous vaccines will eventually wear off. Plus, the new shots are FDA approved for ages 6 months and up. A COVID vaccine is not just a shot. It's a pledge to safeguard the wisdom and stories handed down by our elders. So join the movement, get vaccinated, and make 2024 the healthiest year ever, securing a brighter future for our Native community. For more information, including details about clinics offering free vaccines, visit vaccines.gov.
Signing up for $1 bus and train rides with the Transit Assistance Program, or TAP, is quick and easy. Do it straight from your computer or phone by uploading one of the pre-approved documents listed at metrotransit.org/TAP, along with a copy of your ID. We'll mail you a go-to card with a full year of discounted rides. For questions or translation help, call 612-373-3333. 612-373-3333.
Hey, welcome back to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake. Producer Haley with you now. I just want to say a big thank you, Pinagigi Miigwech Wopilatanka, to everyone who is tuning in to today's special broadcast regarding the published recognition of us Ho-Chunk people in the state of Minnesota. And a big thank you again to our sponsor, NACD, Native American Community Development Institute, and All My Relations Arts, as well as the Minnesota Historical Society, and Cathy Coats for sharing our history and opening up a space for our story here today. But there is still time to come over to All My Relations Art Gallery here at 1414 East Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis. We'll be here until 7. Right now, though, in this segment, we want to stick with a Ho-Chunk citizen, someone who is very important to Ho-Chunk Nation. His name is Jon Greendeer, and this is actually an encore segment, and Jon talks a bit about our Ho-Chunk history as well. So here it is.
Jige, hana chini kadagi we know. My name is Jon Greendeer. I am once again excited to send each of you a warm greeting. Also excited to be on the radio. That's just kind of cool. So a lot of people don't know this. I'm actually a licensed ham radio operator. Yep, let that sink in. KD9 ETK is my call. But it has nothing to do with me being on the radio. So it's actually quite useless information. So I thought it was kind of cool, but it'll get more relevant from here, I promise. Today we get to talk about something a little bit more in my wheelhouse. I am the Executive Director of Heritage Preservation for the Ho-Chunk Nation, which is a pretty expansive title, but if you look at what it covers, that's even more broad. I always ask folks, what do you think of when you hear heritage preservation? And, some folks, the response is, powwows, drums, songs, music, feathers, regalia, dances. Others, might be more on the naturalist side of the spectrum and say, well, all the things that predate, pre-colonial contact, and our rivers, our land, our mountains, our forests, vegetation, animals, all these things that, those are the things we need to preserve. Others, look at it from a more scholarly point of view in terms of the historical context or political, and it's about sovereignty. It's about your legal disposition as a nation. It's what you can do to self-govern. So what is it? It's all of those and more. And even nowadays, preservation really is synonymous with everything that falls under, quote, culture. So we have a lot of things that that we do oversee. Now, as a preservationist, those are very distinct. Culture being something that you can't really kill or anything like that. It's a part of your daily life. How you brush your teeth, when you go to school, who gets a TV first, all that stuff is a part of your culture. Your home has one, your work has one, your school, your church. But more importantly, we look at preserving our heritage. And these are things that probably weren't intended to change, like, your songs, your stories, your fundamental beliefs, principles, family, clan colors, those types of things. And so those are kind of more in the area. And while it does seem like they do overlap, because they do, we do try to be more distinctive to focus on some of those elements that might be in danger of being lost. So when I started as the executive director for heritage preservation, I thought like I was going to be like zapped down, with a bag over my head, and I'm going to go down 7 flights into this, dark, eerie area where we had this big, giant, massive storage unit of all of our songs and stories and everything that defined us historically. And, it was not a scene out of the X-Files by any means. We don't have all that stuff. Yes, there are recordings. Yes, there are photographs. Yes, but there certainly isn't a place where you can just walk into it and plug in your USB and just fill your whole world up with history and knowledge. We are remnants of an oral tradition of vastly substantive oral tradition of songs and stories and things that identify you as a family. And, I'd mentioned before in a previous show that, a lot of these things were severed, not, just simply by boarding schools, but, a lot of, forces in westernization that have really changed our daily culture. Today we can't say we are, living the life of those of us and our people in the past. We're too busy working 2 jobs just to be broke and getting our kids off to school so we can be conveniently late for work and probably unwrapping more meals than we should be. So there's just, certain things lifestyles that we have now that, probably don't synchronize with, the people that we came from who really built their life or their way of life, which Ho-Chunks will call Woshka, around simplicity, food, water, shelter, things that we kind of take for granted nowadays. But if we were ever forced to go back to that, there's probably a good chance we'd have a bit of a struggle. Yes, we could eat deer if you can get one, or catch fish if you can catch one, or make nets or make hooks. We didn't have necessarily the obligation to learn survival skills. That's what they would be for us today, but to them it was just simply living. So I don't know how long it would take us to learn today, but back then that way of life wasn't something you learned in a weekday or years, or even a lifetime. It took many lifetimes. We go back, thousands and thousands of years, and, our oral tradition has us, placed back into the red banks of the Green Bay, but, we don't really know when that was. We can certainly, use science to determine, when, the human existence took place into this area, but we can't really verify, lean too heavily on archaeology or belief system. We just have to accept the fact that we don't know. And if we were meant to know, we would. But I can say that, when we start going back to, our history, and, I hate to surprise everyone, but history doesn't start when a white guy sets foot on a piece of earth. A lot of times we do that when we say, we're going to talk about history. Well, it's going to be George Washington or Ben Franklin or Christopher Columbus. And, no, history starts, way before that, before we can even think of. And so, we discipline ourselves to make sure that, we don't think in that Western manner. This is how and who we are. So to give you a scale of that, one of the exercises that, we'll provide in making sure people understand the heritage of and where we are, we pull this 50-foot rope out and have the children kind of hold that as far out as they can. And that rope, in this context, only represents 14,000 years, where we're dated back to, at least, on the science end of things. But we introduce, things like, the projectile points and some of the stone tools all the way, these are the historic areas where they, prehistoric areas where they didn't have, recording devices or written languages, those types of things. And people will actually get a chance to see the scale of this because, every foot of that rope represents about approximately 280 years, which means that, if you went 2 feet, you've already passed the arrival of Columbus to the Americas, and so you have to think back from those 48 feet. Oh my God, there was a lot of time between then and now. We are not the first, we're not fresh off the boat here. We've been here for such a long time, and the reason why we have made it to this day is because of those elements of our heritage. So making sure that those things are passed down to our folks is probably our biggest mission, to make sure that there's a connection there, and there is. And that's the amazing thing about it is, these things that that, we credit our ancestors to. We have those things. We never lost them. We may not have to engage those, but there are certain things that, we do in heritage preservation and cultural resources and language that really show that connection is there, and it's as strong as it's ever been before. So whenever we learn how to say our name in our language and use it, whenever we learn how to craft an item that has some utility and we see people using it, it's there. So, I don't, it doesn't take long for people to realize I get really amped up on things like this. But, this connection that we have, they can't take that away from us. That's who we are. We are these people that, that they try to separate us from. So, heritage preservation is really about making sure that we have a strong connection and a strong identity with who we are, because that really is what determines our success in the modern Western world, and it's what determined our success in the prehistoric times as well. So heritage preservation does include a lot. And, I'm always discouraged because, I don't know the things that people come to ask me, or, the people I work with, they say the same thing. We don't know everything. We'd like to be able to help. But, one of the things that they talk about, in our way of life, and I hope I don't butcher this too much, but, when they say that ho changa do woshka ke ineki ya oncha ki karachegi hiain chakshanawi, we're not doing this alone. That's, we don't have this all by ourselves. It's with our group, our family, our clan, that we can all do this. And, this is knowledge that, I think is really important, that no one person knows all of this, but we all know a little bit. And when we come together, that's how we come to know everything. We can't do it all ourselves, but if everyone does a little bit, then it can get done. And so, these are things that I really, lean on heavily, in making sure that the circle, the group is wider and there's more people in there, rather than just a small number of people that are, carrying that burden and trying to carry this on, because that's never going to work. So, so it really is about being together. It's really about working together, sharing together. And, the best way to do it is to look at our brothers and sisters as, what they are. They're our family. And so together, that's what defines who we are, and that's going to define what the success of heritage preservation is. So again, I want to thank everyone for allowing me to share just, a 10,000-foot view of what heritage preservation is, and let you know that no matter what we're asked, we may not have an answer, but the minute, we're done talking, we're thinking of how to find that answer for each of you. So again, thank you.
We got to take a quick break, but stay with us. You're listening to Native Roots Radio.
Thanks to everyone who's continued to support AM 950. Good news, the AM 950 2024 calendar is ready to go, featuring photos I took around Minnesota and important progressive dates. Members that sign up with a one-time $25 membership will receive a 2024 AM 950 calendar as a thank you. Make a one-time $50 or $100 donation. You'll get the AM 950 calendar and the brand new AM 950 tote bag as a thank you. Go to am950radio.com for all the details on the membership. That's am950radio.com. Thank you so much for supporting AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Become a teacher and ignite change. Join the St. Paul Urban Residency Program to become a teacher in just 15 months. You can earn your master's degree and teaching license from the University of St. Thomas while earning a $30,000 stipend, single health care, and dental benefits. As an added bonus, next year's cohort, all residents will receive $20,000 towards their tuition. Apply now. Applications due February 28, 2024. Visit spps.org/SUTR.
As we age, it's important to invest in our health and to help protect it. Like the flu, COVID-19 is always changing. That's why it's important to stay up to date on your vaccines. By getting the flu and COVID-19 vaccines, you can renew your body's defenses and lower the risk of getting sick. Get your health boost and protect yourself against the flu and COVID-19. Find vaccines near you at vaccines.gov. That's vaccines.gov.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis Air dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis Air on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950. Hey, welcome back to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake. This portion of the show is supported by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations. Howl! That was my lone howl today. Anyways, I want to quickly introduce Wendy Pilot. Wendy is a humane policy advocate leader for the Humane Society of the United States, and she is updating us all the way from New York today. So thank you so much, Wendy. Please take it away.
Thank you, Haley. Hey, everybody. My name is Hanaji Hihani. That means cares for them. I was given that name by my Dega Curtis. Curtis goes by Mashke Hanajinga, which means walks on white clouds. I'm a humane policy volunteer leader for the Humane Society of the United States, and I work on animal issues at the local and state level, and it's always my pleasure to do that. You know, I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about today, and I want to do a little free advertisement for an item that I bought that I think is just awesome for your pet. So Robert and I decided that we were going to drive to New York. I think it's around 1,900 miles. So we were going to drive for a long time. I think the whole trip took us about 20 hours. But we were traveling with our little dog, Wanda, and everybody has heard about Wanda. She is a little black Shih Tzu. She's a rescue. We rescued her about 7 years ago, and she's our heart. Like, we both love this little dog so much. And the thought of bringing her on the road with us was so exciting, but also really worrisome because we were going to stop at a lot of places, rest stops. We were going to stay in a hotel overnight one night. We were going to walk her on streets and places that she's not familiar with. And the thought of me and Robert losing her was just something I could not even imagine. Many years ago, Robert and I lost our dog, Mickey. Robert and I were out of town, and we had a pet sitter staying at our house, and Mickey got out, and I think there was a storm. We don't know the whole story. We never really found out the truth. But somehow Mickey got out, and he was gone. That was really, I'd have to say, maybe one of the top three most horrible times in my life was losing Mickey and not knowing where he was. And back then we didn't really have the tools that we do today. So Robert got on his computer right away, made up little posters and pictures of Mickey, and Robert and I went around our neighborhood and put these posters out on every lamppost that we could find in the neighborhood. And sure enough, I think it was, I don't know how many hours later, 30 hours, I'm just going to guess from my memory, we got a call from a little boy who said, "I think I have your dog in our backyard." And we went and we got Mickey. Now, today, there's so many more options, right? There's microchips, there's tracking devices. Just having a collar with your dog's name on it is really important. And I'm telling you, we have all three. So Wanda is microchipped. So anybody out there who's moved, changed their phone number, just update that information, because that information is really important to be updated at all times. And I think having your dog microchipped is a great tool, but it's not the only tool out there. And I think it needs to really be combined with other things. Your dog would have to be found, would have to be picked up, and have to be brought to the vet to be scanned to find that information. And while it's really good, other items as well works great. So Wanda also has a little tag around her neck shaped as a bone, has her name on it, and Robert and I, our phone numbers. So that's great. But these tags, they fall off if your dog is running through bushes, running through a fence. It could get snagged and taken off the collar. So what I purchased before we left from leaving St. Paul, Minnesota to coming from Long Island, New York, was a Roam tag. Roam, R-O-A-M tag. It is an Apple product, and this is a tracking device, and you put it on your phone, and you could track the animal on your phone. So the one we got attaches to her collar. So the collar kind of goes in and out, and it's on the collar. And then I have all the information in my phone, and no matter where I am, I can go on my phone and just go to the app, find my, so, find your whatever. And we have Wanda set up with all of our information. And somebody could just, it's a QR code. That's exactly what it is, a barcode. So whoever has a phone can just click on, scan the code, and it will give you her name, our phone numbers, where you could contact us. So I think that's a really good tool to have. And then I could go on and see where she is. Like, oh, okay, and find the address where she is. I could find her exact location, and it will show me as she's walking, wherever she's going. So I think this is a really good tool. So between these three things that she has, the Roam tag, which is great, it's like less than $50. You just upload it on your phone. It's simple. It's really easy to use. And you could see where your animal is anytime. And then we have the little, name tag. Name tag, microchipped, and this. Three things that she has on her because we did not want to lose her. So Wanda is safe and sound. She made it through the trip without getting lost, which we're really happy about. She really was good on the trip too. She's a really good traveler. She stayed in the crate in the back. I have it set up so it's high enough so she gets to look outside. I have it all bungee corded up so it's really stable and secure. So if God forbid we got into an accident, the crate is sturdy. It's not going to fly around the car. So she's safe in there. There's lots of blankets and stuff in there. So I think she is acclimating to New York. She is barking a lot at people who come in and out of the condo building because she's used to having, living in a house. So it's nice and quiet. And the good thing is when we're home in Minnesota and St. Paul, we have a nice little backyard. It's a small yard, but it's great for her. And it's all fenced in, and we could just let her out, right? If it's snowing, raining, whatever, we just let her out. She goes potty, comes right back in the house, especially in these cold temperatures. But now in New York, we don't have a little backyard that's fenced in. So rain, sleet, snow, darkness, whatever, we have to get that leash on her and go for a walk. The good thing is, hey, it gets me out of the house, right? It gets me walking, and there's been some cold, rainy days here where I would have just stayed in the condo and not have gone out at all, but this gets me to go out. So with that, keep your pet safe out there and take it easy. Back to you, Robert and Haley.
Hey, Wendy, thanks again, and stay warm out there in New York. If you have been listening to Native Roots Radio, you are part of our resistance. We'll be back tomorrow with Little Moments Count and Bob Blake from Red Lake. Let's walk well, take care of the earth, and free Leonard Peltier. Now.